going on? Welcome back to another After Pill live stream. And today is going to be a very interesting topic today, man. Oh, happy Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas Eve to you ninjas. Happy Christmas Eve to you ninjas who celebrate Christmas. Happy Christmas Eve to you ninjas who could have went to work today, but you didn't go to work today. Shout out to you ninjas. All right, but today's episode, today's live stream is going to be a very interesting live stream, man. We're going to dive into the dark side of the passport bro movement, right? It's going to be a little touchy. It's going to be a little touchy about the subject. Cartier, what's going on? We're going to get a little touchy about the subject. However, it needs to be talked about. It needs to be discussed because for men in general, men who want to better their lives, men who want to get away from the system, right? If you don't want the system just following you all around, this is what needs to happen. These things need to be discussed because the strong men, the wise men, the knowledgeable men, the men who aren't weirdos, right? It's time to start separating yourself, right? Cartier, Merry Christmas, dog, even though it don't matter. Merry Christmas, ninja. But we need to start separating from the weirdos. Yep. Aiden Smash, is this related to the weirdo recently? You already know where I'm about to go with this. Aiden Smash, you know what I'm talking about. Brazil, should I say even more? Should I say anything else? Right? So it's time for men to start separating themselves. This is what happens. See, this is what happens when there's no hierarchy. This is what happens when you got weirdos, right, who watch content and they think that they can just go on and do whatever they want to. This is why there is a particular procedure. This is why there is a particular framework that men need to abide by. Are you following me? This is why a framework is essential. This is why I am leading at the forefront of the PFP life. Purpose, freedom, and power. The Escape Blueprint is the framework. And we're going to go through all those phases. If you haven't signed up for the Patreon, go ahead and sign up for the Patreon. But we're going through all of those phases. Right now, we're still in phase 1, which is awareness. Right? Here's the thing. I don't want to be, this is why I have no friends either. I don't want to be dealing with men who aren't vetted. Because best believe, ninja, when it gets to that point, because I told you already, I'll be throwing my own, when I get to my destination, when I fully transition, I'm going to be throwing balls and all, right? So if you're a part of the movement, come down to where I'm at. We're going to be throwing balls. We're going to be throwing, little celebrations, but we're going to do it the right way. We're not going to be doing, all of these big old 304 parties. Yeah, it's going to be some 304s there, of course, but we're going to do this the right way, the classy way. Right? We're going to have a section. We're going to have the section of men, Unfiltered Ground, what's going on. We're going to have the section of men who want to be married. We're going to have a section of men who, just want to play around, but it's going to be a chica for every man, that whatever you need, but we're going to do it the right way. And men need to be vetted. This is why you can't mess with everybody. This is why you can't link up with everybody. This is why you can't, just because somebody got clout doesn't mean they're not a weirdo. Right? So we're gonna dive deep into the topic today, man. As some of you may know, some of you may not know, but there was an incident a day ago, 2 days ago, a YouTuber with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I can look at this ninja and tell he's a weirdo. I can look at this ninja and tell he was off. But allegedly, we still got to say allegedly, because we don't know what's the factual information. We don't know what's fiction. We don't know, right? And the only reason I'm speaking on it because other ninjas speaking on it. But he has allegedly been caught in Brazil. This is Americano. He's allegedly been caught in Brazil effing minors. Right? He's been caught in all the beautiful grown women in Brazil. All the beautiful grown women in Brazil. This ninja allegedly, right? But it looked like the ninja did it. He looked like he did it. He allegedly was sleeping with 6-year-olds, right? He was on this Jeffrey Epstein-ish. Like, what's going on? Right? He was having relations with underage children, right? Yes, that was a terrible look. Media headlines, American YouTuber. That's what they're gonna go with. They're gonna go with this. American YouTuber. American YouTuber. And then he's a black YouTuber at that. So you know they finna throw a brick at this ninja. So allegedly been having relations with underage girls, essentially. His name is where's my other phone? I forgot his name. Let me go ahead and look it up on this phone right here. But he's alleged, not alleged, but he's connected. He was connected to Austin Holloman. He was connected to Austin Holloman. Let's see what his name is. Go to YouTube real quick. Yeah, so he was connected to Austin Holloman when Austin Holloman was down there doing his thing in Brazil. Now Austin, he trying to go get on his African-ish, but they ran Austin ass up out of they ran him up out of Brazil. And then they tried to run him out of Kenya too. I'm like, bruh, for some reason, this can't be a coincidence, Austin. This can't be a coincidence, Austin, that Floyd, that's his name. His name is Floyd. His name is Floyd. Go ahead and put the moderations on. Let's see, participant, subscriber only mode. There we go. But his name is Floyd. So he was running around with Austin Holloman, about a year ago. Allegedly, the reason he even came to Brazil, right? Tappy trying to keep the trolls. Yeah, I put it on. But the reason he even came to Brazil is because Austin was down there, allegedly. And I'm not trying to pin this on Austin. I'm not trying to pin this on Austin Holloman at all. However, right? However, for those of you who've been tracking what's going on around the globe with some of these ninjas, right? Y'all remember the whole, if you track it, do y'all remember the whole Jay Rello situation? The whole Jay Rello situation. That ninja, he was over there in Africa, right? He was over there in Africa going upside the head of some I think some Kenyan chick, if I'm not mistaken. He was going upside the head of some Kenyan chick because she wouldn't let him film them have sexual relations. And the wrong people got a hold of it. But the reason why he even came to Kenya is because Austin and his other sidekick, I don't know his name, because they invited him to come to Kenya to run game or whatever. They invited him. So my thing is, now you got Austin trying to, clean house. He trying to clean house and trying to, venture away from him. But it seems like with Austin, it seems like bullshit keeps following Austin. Like I said, I'm not trying to put this on him, right? Not trying to say that he was involved with underage kids or whatever. But something must, listen, the old saying, right? The old saying, you're guilty by association. You're guilty by association. That's with everything. If you hanging around gang members, well, don't be surprised when the police roll up and treat you just like the gang members, regardless if you committed a crime or not. Why are you hanging around gang members? So the same thing goes when you hanging around alleged PDF files, just like Epstein and all the other people. Why y'all was hanging around Epstein? Y'all knew that all these little girls was around. Y'all knew these young underage girls was around. Why y'all hanging around this dude? This has been his what you call that? This has been what he's been about for years. This has been his persona for years. So that's no coincidence to me. Right? And then you're linking up with weirdos. This is why a hierarchy is needed. This is why. You have too many people, even with, even the YouTubers. Even the YouTubers. There's too many, even if they got a following. Even if they got a following. A lot of these YouTubers, man, they're operating from just such an ignorant standpoint. A lot of these YouTubers, a lot of them, they just so happen to get a little bit of clout. They just so happen to get a little bit of notoriety. But in reality, these ninjas don't respect hierarchy. These ninjas don't really have any knowledge. They don't have any wisdom, right? Many of these dudes are hoes themselves. Corey, what's going on? Blaze Bradley, what's going on? But this is why a framework for men needs to be had. Dudes are running around here like chicken with their heads cut off. chicken with their heads cut off. That's how dudes running around here. And then, of course, this is going to backfire because now Brazil is they writing in the headlines talking about some Passport Bros, a terrorist organization or something like that, right? So now they're about to start investigating some of you ninjas, right? Because y'all don't know how to move. Y'all put everything on Broad Street, right? If you hear me talking about some stuff, guess what? It's behind the paywall. It's behind the paywall for serious people. And then I don't even speak heavily on it. Why don't I speak heavily on it? Because that's not what should be at the forefront. That's not what needs to be at the forefront. What needs to be at the forefront is business. What needs to be at the forefront is economics. What needs to be at the forefront is changing your environment. That's what needs to be at the forefront. Yeah, women can be somewhere in between, of course, when we talk about beautiful women. But it's too many dudes. This is the problem I have. There's too many dudes talking about what's going on. Y'all got to understand. Y'all can't, that's not how you move. Yes. Do these countries know what's going on? Of course they know what's going on. Do they know that, people are indulging? And in some of these places, it's completely legal. It's completely legal. However, that doesn't mean getting your bitch ass online and just broadcasting everything. This is what's ruining a lot of stuff. Honestly speaking, this is what's ruining a lot of stuff. Because there's too many guys, they want to show off. Hey, I'm in Thailand. Look at all the Thai chicks. Look at them all out here. Ninja, come on, bro. If you're a real YouTuber, listen, put some of that shit behind a paywall, but then only be minimum of with what you giving out. We need to go back to hierarchy, bro. This is why shit all fucked up. We need to go back to hierarchies. We need to go back to putting stuff behind a wall. We need to go back to gatekeeping. Because if we don't go back to gatekeeping, we're going to keep getting weirdos. We're going to keep getting weirdos. And the ugly part about this is there's a lot of guys in the United States, they fucked up. And when I say they fucked up, I meant there's a lot of guys, man, listen, and it's not to make fun of guys and all that stuff, but there's a lot of guys who they don't get consistent or even at all for years. They don't get consistent touches from women. They don't get consistent, femininity from women. So yes, when a guy gets the opportunity to go to somewhere like Brazil, to go to somewhere like Colombia, to go to somewhere like Thailand, right? They go in overdrive mode. And you got to understand, in reality, some of these guys don't really even know how to interact with women in the first place, right? They don't even know how to interact with women, right? So when they get into these places, they lose their shit, right? And they get into, this is where you get into debaucherous behavior. Do I think, so, it's multi-sided, right? Because you got some guys over here saying, oh, this is what happens when you travel and you paying for it. First of all, let's nip that in the bud. Stop dick policing first and foremost. Stop dick policing. right? If a man wants to travel and indulge in whatever pleasures he wants to responsibly with consenting adults, that is a grown man, let him have his way. But you got a lot of dudes talking about them. Now, this is what happens when you travel for pay for. Like, okay, what happens when you stay at home, stay in the United States and pay double, triple the prices for the same? Bro, stop it. Stop it. So stop depolicing first and foremost. Because dude gonna travel, most men travel just to be around other women in the first place, to get a change of environment anyway. Let's stop sugarcoating shit. Too many lame ass, duck ass ninjas wanna tell other guys to, well, y'all need to stop traveling for P for P. Just because dudes are traveling just to get access, and if they pay for it, oh well. Just because dudes are doing it doesn't mean that they're doing it irresponsibly. Right? You swim in Punani, but you come home broke. Did this ninja really subscribe to say that? Yeah, you know dudes, man. You know dudes. But that doesn't mean that they're doing it irresponsibly. However, see, two things can be true. You do have a subset of guys who do it irresponsibly. But just like anything, when a subset of guys start doing some stupid junk, then they start wrapping everybody else into that. And then other men want to wrap everybody else in there too. I'm like, dang, y'all some whole hoes out here. Y'all can't tell the difference. But this is when you're not, if you weren't disciplined, if you coming from the States, if you're coming from America and you're trying to change your environment, if you weren't disciplined in the States, and this doesn't mean that you had a bunch of money, this doesn't mean that you were just, balling out of control or anything like that. Discipline is discipline, regardless of how much money you have. Consistency is consistency, regardless of if you're where you want to be or not. Right? There are certain characteristics. There are certain characteristics that men need. Not this shouldn't be. This is not up for debate. There are certain characteristics that men need. So when you hear me talking about, these women are here and these women are there. Yeah, I talk about it for sure, but don't get it misconstrued and twisted. I also talk heavily about discipline. I also talk heavily about awareness. I also talk heavily about purpose. I talk heavily about those things because if you are an undisciplined man and you go into these environments, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be chaotic, and it's going to lead to your destruction. It's going to lead to your destruction, and you're going to get into debauchery. You don't hear a lot of passport bros talking about many of them having to come back home because all they did was spend money on Punani. You don't hear them talking about that, but it happens more than you think. Many of these guys going to Thailand and Japan and Colombian, right? All of these guys going all over these places. They don't talk about that. Exactly. Unfiltered grind. Discipline keeps you grounded. Right? Discipline keeps you grounded. But a lot of these dudes, they were never disciplined. They never had a stronghold over themselves. Right? This is why on my last live stream, I told you the specific amount. Just today. Shouts out to Just Today for becoming a member. I talked about the specific amount that you needed. If you were on that live stream, Unfiltered Grind, you was there, Cartier, you was there. I talked about the specific amount that you needed just to go visit, just to put yourself in that environment. I said it in that manner because first, you're in phase one. You need to build that awareness. You need to go there. You need to go there to see what you're up against. You need to go there just to see what you're up against. You need to go there. You need to go there to see what could cause you to steer off path. How would you be able to get yourself back into path? Because y'all think this shit is y'all think this is just easy peasy. No, this is not easy peasy for most guys. Most guys, they go to these places, spend all their money because the access is unfathomable. Unfathomable, if that's a word. Unfathomable. The amount of access that you have. David Gian, what's going on? The amount of assets that you have in many of these environments, they will drive you to brokenness, right? They will drive you to chaos, right? 10K soon, yes, Sirski. They will drive you to this. So you got to go there just to peep around, just to see how you will be in this environment. And then you can make bigger moves after that. And this is when you'll start to realize, okay, I can set myself on a schedule, right? I can do this and do that. We're going to talk about that in another live stream. I'm going to put that on the Patreon. But you have to know yourself as a man. And this is where the real businessmen come into play, right? This is the difference between guys who are traveling to Colombia and places like that just to indulge. Not saying that is something wrong with it. Do what you do. However, there's a significant difference in men who are also trying to build economic advantage, right? See, we need to stop all. This is why we need hierarchy. We need to stop all the BS. Sure, women are cool. Yes, we all. If you love to be around beautiful women, say I, Ninja. I. Okay, let's get that out the way. All of us would love to be surrounded by beautiful, feminine, in shape women, right? Yes, we would love to have on a day that we're not working. We would love to indulge with 2 to 4 of them, of course, two per day, Ninja. Yes, we will love to. However, this is where the dead pill is dead, red pill is dead, and also the way that the passport movement even started, the way that they have been behaving, the way that they have been broadcasting certain things, the way that they have been broadcasting these things to the general public, that shit needs to stop. To be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it real. This is the after pill. All that broadcasting and all that stuff, especially on a public screen, right? So everybody can see, is not behind the paywall, right? Or you only speaking briefly on it. See, the reason many of these guys, they're leading with the whole the women. They're leading with the women because that's usually a lot of times all they have to offer. Not saying everybody. But usually the guys, the YouTubers who are leading with the women, right? They don't have nothing else. They don't have nothing else to piggyback off of. They have no business awareness. They don't know how to set up business. They haven't studied what is going on in the economy. In that said economy, not like I said, not saying all, but a lot of them don't. They just keep on bouncing from country to country. They just bouncing from, oh, look at this girl and look at these. Some of these dudes even have whole OnlyFans and shit, right? Some of these dudes, you might as well call them PIMPs. Essentially. But I believe moving forward in the future, fuck all that passport bro shit. Fuck all that. You need to be building an economic advantage. The woman gonna be there, right? There's a lane for that, of course. Like I said, there's a certain way to do it. Like I know how to do it right. Once I get to where I need to be, I'm gonna show you niggas how to do it right. Niggas like to show girls all in the undies and all that shit and all that just to try to get some clout points and all that stuff. We ain't doing all that, right? When I touch down, when I land, we doing it the right way. We doing it on some player shit. Like everybody, you gotta come in tuxedo or suits. Ladies, dresses. Nails done, toes done, hair pulled up. Okay? We're having a ball. This is a ball. We coming to network. We coming to congregate, right? You coming to find your wife, or you coming to find some just for the night. Okay, we doing it right. See, a lot of these dudes, they don't want to do it right. Exactly. Unfiltered Ground. I want to travel for growth and experience. Women are just a given. But see, everybody trying to make it the opposite. They want to make it about the women. Like I said, like the women are cool. Yeah, we all would love to be surrounded by beautiful women. However, the women are a given. The growth and the experience is what you need to be looking at. Right? But now let's dive into the dark side of the Passport Bro movement. And we're not even going to just be putting it off on Passport Bro, because this is something that's been happening since before the Passport Bro movement was a movement. So the dark side of the Passport Bro movement, many of you need to hear this, because this is what's going on. This is what's currently going on. And the guy Floyd is not the only one. He's not the only one that has been indulging. He's one that has been caught, who has a platform, right? This has been going on for decades, longer than many of you and I have been born. So many guys, right, who don't have platforms, many of them, here's the unfortunate truth, and this does happen. Many guys, they do travel to be with, I got to be careful with my wordplay. They do travel to be with underage children. They do travel for that. And here's the other thing. The thing what happened with Floyd, the thing that stands out with the Floyd situation is, I was reading an article, and it said that the parents, the mothers, were aware. The parents were aware, but they essentially sold their daughters off for some money. This happens. This happens all over. This has been happening. This happens in Latin America, Brazil, Colombia, right? This happens. This happens in Africa. This happens in Southeast Asia. This happens everywhere. More than you think. It's disgusting, right? But to think that, you know, all of these grown women around who can consent, essentially, you choose to go the other route. You know the predicament. You know the predicament. Yep, R. Kelly did that too. You know the predicament of many of these environments. You understand the predicament, right? You know as an American what you could do, what kind of damage you can do. You understand you should have some kind of awareness. But you know, unfortunately, many of these dumbass men don't. This is why I believe that there should be gatekeepers, right? Vetting these ninjas. But you should be aware of the power that you hold. And such power can create a distasteful person who is led by that. So in these countries, yes, will parents sell their daughters off? Of course they will. Of course they will. Let me tell you about a particular situation that happened to me. Right. And I was sitting this is when I was in the DR. I was just sitting on the strip. I was sitting in Zona Colonial. Right. And I noticed something. I'm very aware. I pick up on a lot of shit. I'm very aware. So I'm just sitting there smoking my cigar. We sitting there talking, smoking our cigar, drinking our Presidentes. Right. And we just talking about some American shit. And we noticed that there was two guys that propped up, you know, across the way from us, right? They got out their coolers, and we assumed that they were, you know, native countrymen, but they set up their coolers, you know, pulled out their beers and, you know, started drinking, set up shop right there. And we noticed that there were two girls with them. There were two girls with them who appear, and this is, you know, God honesty, like, who appear to be minors, right? Who appear to be minors, right? They look extremely young, and we noticed that they kept hovering around us like, bro, what? Like, man, get these little ass girls away from us, bro. Like, we just kept noticing. We didn't say nothing, but we were looking at each other like, bro, you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I see what you're saying. I see that shit too. Right? It appeared like little ass girls was hovering around us. They looked about teenage age, but they still look very much like minors. So, and we noticed also that the men who set up shop, you know, across the way from us, they just kept on looking at us, seeing how we were moving, seeing what we were gonna do and all that stuff. We were hyper aware. You got to be hyper aware in these environments. But they just kept hovering around us. They kept walking across our backs and stuff like that, just trying to be close to us, right? Almost as if, you know, almost as if I shouldn't, you know, I don't have to put it into words, almost as if y'all know what I'm trying to say. So like we looking at each other, we didn't even really say much. We just knew what was going on, but like we just brushed that shit aside. Like, yeah, y'all get y'all little ass away from us, bro. Like, no, we're not going for none of that shit. But this happens. It happens. Cartier, you can get Amy up out of here. You can go ahead and get Amy up out of here. You can get Amy up out of here. No need to. They coming in here causing a disruption. They subscribing just to cause a disruption. I need to get Unfiltered Grind. I need to get you a tool too, Unfiltered Grind. But get Amy up out of here. But when you're in these environments, yeah, you got to pay attention. So you have parents in these environments. You have parents in these environments who will sell their children off to gringos, who will sell their children off to wealthy men, right? That was actually a documentary I watched on Colombia. This happens a lot in Colombia, right? A lot of guys, they'll go off into the, and I say a lot, when I say a lot of guys, I'm not trying to make it just widespread, but it's happening enough to where, you know, you got to pay attention to it. So you got a lot of foreigners who do go in the barrios. You got foreigners who do go into the barrios, and not just foreigners. You have native men, native people to the country. They also do nasty shit too. Just like in the United States, you got a lot of pedophiles, allegedly some in the administration. Now, I didn't say it. That's what's been broadcasted. All right, but you got a lot of guys with money. They'll go into the barrios. They'll go into the barrios and they'll pick up little, you know, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, younger sometimes, right? They're going to the barrios and they'll pay the parents. The parents know what's going on, bro. The mothers know what's going on, right? You got to realize they come from extreme poverty. United States don't experience this kind of poverty, even though I've seen instances where this has happened in the United States as well. So you have in these environments extreme poverty. United States don't know extreme poverty, and United States have poverty, but it's nothing like a third world poverty. But in these situations, parents will sell off. They will sell off their daughters for a night. They will sell their daughter, and two, so many times they sell these girls off to the gangs. They sell these to the cartels in these countries. So they'll sell before their daughters even 18. They'll be selling their daughters off at 14, 15 to some of these cartels, to some of these gangs. And the gangs and the cartels, they'll arrange it with some of these guys. This should be happening, bro. So with Floyd didn't operate by himself. So if you just now coming in, we're talking about Floyd and the dark side of the passport bro movement. So Floyd didn't operate by himself. Floyd operated with some native people who were there, because Floyd didn't speak the native language. Floyd didn't speak Portuguese. He didn't speak Portuguese. So somebody or many people, whoever who he arranged this with, right? They had to speak Portuguese. Right? That's what I'm telling y'all. Somebody had to put Floyd on. This is what I'm saying. Right? This is something that's already happening. It's already constructed already. It's built in. It's built in. Trust and believe. Somebody will point, you go look for anything, somebody will point you to the right direction. Right? Even in the United States. You want some guns? Right? Somebody point you in the right direction. You want some weed? You want some cocaine? You want some heroin? You want some methamphetamines? You want some pills? Somebody will point you in the right direction. As a matter of fact, you know, I met a chica who said she's the plug. Right? When I was in the DR, I met a chica who said she's the plug. She can get me anything. I swear to God. She said she can get me chicks. She can get me chicks. She can get me drugs. She can get me pills. Whatever I need, she can get it. She's like, how many girls you need, I can get you a bunch of girls. She said, if you need some drugs, you need some weed, I can get you that too. Cocaine, I can get you that too, bro. Come on, bro. And I'm just giving you a little tidbit on some stuff that's happening. But see, with me, you have to have this knowledge so you know how to avoid it. You have to know this so you know how to avoid it, so you don't get caught up like Floydie. You have to know this. You have to know the dark side of this shit so you can stay the far fuck away from it. Because please tell me if he isn't a sicko, why in the hell would somebody, bro, you talking about Brazil, probably number one spot for beautiful women. Right? This is why, see, when you have nothing else going on, when all you doing is going just to smash, when all you doing is just to go and involve yourself in debauchery, you have nothing else going on, no economic mind, no business mind, you fall into debauchery. So guess what? With that debauchery, you get into other shit. Not saying that that's always the case, right? But a man with too much freedom on his hands, right, gets into some other shit. Right? But I would say that this man was already sick before he left. He was already sick before he dropped down. He was probably doing this already. Right? And I seen video evidence of him on like little calls and stuff with his buddies, right? Playing peekaboo with the chick that appeared to be young with one of his homeboys. But he was playing peekaboo. He was playing peekaboo on the phone. Like, bro, you like little kids or something, bro? Like, what's going on? So you got a lot of guys, man, a lot of weirdos that have platforms. This is why ninjas got to be vetted when you come around me. Like when it's time to host, right? Even for the guys who are part of the Patreon, even for the guys who are members, right? For you guys, y'all gotta check in. Y'all gonna have to check in. Because I'd be damned if any of you ninjas ruin my reputation. I'd be damned if you ninjas was involved in something and I didn't know. No, I gotta do background checks on ninjas. Yeah, run that shit clean. Ninjas ain't about to be coming around me, right? And you were caught up allegedly with a child in the United States and I didn't know about it. And now they raiding my spot. Because, there's allegedly somebody who shouldn't have been out of the country over here. Right? Nah, y'all gotta do background checks. I need to check the Carfax on you ninjas. Because this is what happened. But then let's go on to, should Austin Holloman be responsible? And if you don't know who Austin Holloman is, he's a big YouTuber, right, from the States, right? He did his traveling over the last few years. He traveled, many countries, and now he's settled down in, I believe, Kenya. He's over there in Africa now. So actually, let's go ahead and put a poll in the chat. Should Austin Holloman be responsible How should I put that? Should Austin Holloman be responsible for Floyd? He can't be responsible for no grown-ass man. However, is Austin Holloman guilty by association? How about that? Let's put that. Is Austin Holloman guilty by association? And I'm sure many of you know who Austin Holloman is. Many of you should know who Austin Holloman is. But this was, many people are saying, oh, it's not fair. It's not fair to connect Austin Holloman to that. Why not? Ninja, if I'm sitting in a dope house, and I'm not doing anything, that don't mean the police ain't about to raid that bitch and go upside my head just because I say, oh, I'm not doing nothing. I don't know what's going on. I'm just sitting in a dope house. I ain't doing nothing. Nah, ninja, we don't care about none of that. We'll decide all that after, ninja. But you sitting in this dope house. You ain't seen nothing. You mean to tell me you sitting in a whole dope house, you ain't seen people come by? Well, I seen a few people come by, but I just thought they were friends. Yeah, Ninja, no, we got to question you. No, we got to question you, Ninja. Now go ahead and sit down in that chair. Now you got to tell us what you done seen. Now you trying to clear the air and all that shit. You trying to nah. Like then they pull your record. Oh, so it looks like you've been arrested for possession of marijuana. You want to tell us about that? So now you looking crazy. So you sitting in the trap house, you don't know what's going on, but they pull your record, they pull your past record. Oh, you've had possession of marijuana. Okay, but you don't know what's going on in this trap house? The same thing with Austin Holloman. Austin Holloman being ran out of Brazil, right? He's the one allegedly who introduced Floyd to Brazil. He was hanging around, flying around, laughing, hee-hee-ha-ha with Floyd, old weird ass. And then also him and his other sidekick, the one that told Jay Rello to come to Kenya. So either these ninjas have poor awareness and discernment, or these ninjas are debaucherous themselves. Pick one. Either you lacking awareness and you can't tell that you shouldn't be hanging around certain ninjas, or you knew and you just did this shit for clout. So you got Jay Rello doing what he did. They wanted to hang Jay Rello ass in Kenya, in Africa. They wanted to hang his ass. But then now, Austin, now you connected. Bro, your name is on this, Austin. If any of y'all know Austin name is on this shit. I don't care how far he tried to get away from this shit. Austin name on this shit. The Jay Rello situation just happened a few months ago. Right? And Kenyans, not all of them, but many of them to pay attention, wanted Austin ass up out of there. That's like, oh, this Austin man's, ain't it? Right? This Austin's man, this is what they be doing. This is what Austin stand for. They try to get Austin ass up out of there. Then before that, they try to get Austin ass up out of Brazil. And then now the ninja getting not, his name hasn't come up, but it came up. It's coming up because they were doing videos together. It's coming up because this ninja was involved with Floyd. I can tell off the back that this ninja is weird. I can tell off the back. I'm like, I wouldn't be hanging around this ninja. He looks sus and weird to me. But for some reason, you know, when ninjas got a little bit of clout, they got something going on. Oh, let's link, ninja. Let's do a few videos. Right? If I was Austin, I would remove videos of Floyd in it. He should be, unless he's an idiot. How many times? See, the first time is cool, but then Austin has gotten caught up more than once, more than twice now. His name has been associated with people who are debaucherous in nature. Right? So the first time, shame on you. The second time, nah, ninja, it's shame on me. Because now consistently your name is being brought up in these connections. Right? So here's my thing. Right? Just like the dead pill, the red pill, just like the manosphere, right? You got some guys who talking about, man, I got into this travel space. Just to bring the bros together. Bro, listen, there's a way and a strategic way to do that. And one of those ways is vetting. Men need to be vetted, just like women. Because you have a lot of weirdos. You have a lot of weirdos out here. Everybody can't come with you. This is what I'm starting to have to learn. Everybody can't come with you. So you got a mix of weirdos, you got a mix of weak ass men, you got a mix of losers. Right? This is probably 80% of ninjas. 80%. So everybody can't come, the majority can't come. And then the 20%, you need to make sure that they're holding their weight. So with me, how I'm gonna start pulling strings, Like, you can't listen, because this shit, the movement is only going to get more powerful. The movement is just going to keep moving forward. You can't come around me if you're not in shape. That goes for both men and women. You can't come around me if you're not in shape. You can't come around me if you're not on your purpose. Right? That messes up the atmosphere. That messes up the aura. Right? You need to be showing telltale signs that you're on your shit. You can't come around me if you're not business oriented. You can't come around me if all you think about is bitches. Right? Y'all hear me, if you're on the Patreon, or the story time, y'all hear me talk about the chicks. Yeah, we talk about it. But if that's not at the forefront of my mind, of course not. And some of you may need to learn some more. Like I said, y'all know what to do. If you was on my last live stream, you know what to do. You know what money you need just to put yourself in that environment so you can get it out your system. With a lot of men, they don't know what it feels like to have access. They don't know what it feels like. But guess what? Before any trip, I get my discipline together. Right? That's my control. Right? Y'all, if y'all seen the video before I went on my trip, I was working out heavy. I was working out for 2, 3, 4 weeks consistently. Right? Of course, I was already in the gym, but it was just an extreme focus in the gym. It was to build my control mechanisms. Right? So I can always be in control. So I can always be disciplined. Many guys who be traveling, they be all fat. When I be traveling, I be seeing guys, especially the over 30 guys. I'm like, bruh, the over 30 guys, they be fat, out of shape, bent up out of shape. I'm like, bruh, have some respect for your damn self. Right? Have some respect for your damn self. Get in shape. That is not hard to do. That is not hard to do. And if you got a little bit of money, man, you can get some gastric bypass surgery, Ninja. And all you got to do after that is keep up with it, Ninja. That's all you got to do is keep up with it. But you got a lot of guys who don't want to do the work. They just want to jump. They just want to jump straight into stuff. No, that's not how I operate. No, I got to build that discipline. I got to build that consistency so I don't never get out of control. Or if I do slip, guess what? I have a central point. I have a central point that I can go back to. Okay, now you slipping. So I'm self-regulated. You niggas are not even self-regulated. Something extreme has to happen to you before you realize, oh shit, I'm in some shit. You done spent all your money before you realize that, oh, it's time to stop spending money. Well, it ain't no money left. Right? See, that's why this is where the passport bro movement failed. Because it gave all men an opportunity to be like, hey, you can go here and you can go here. Nah, F that. F that. No, not no more. Not anymore. Not anymore. It ain't no all of us can go. No, it is not. Because you can never keep up with the bad apples. You can't never. That's impossible to do. However, with as many men as there is in the travel space, as many men as there is in the quote unquote passport bro, sector, y'all need to start being in control of the narrative. Y'all need to start being in control over the messaging. Y'all need to start being in control over the paywall. What types of information gets out there? Right? You need to start controlling who sees what, and you can control it. Put that shit behind the paywall. Right? But then the stuff that you put behind the paywall, it needs to also be filtered. Because you can't be telling everything. You got to let ninjas land. Ninja, y'all got to land. I tell y'all all the time, Ninja. I give y'all a little snippet and I tell y'all about the beauty factor and things of that nature. But I'm like, bro, you got to land. I'm not about to tell y'all everything. I'm not about to tell you everything. For what? I got shit I need to do, Ninja. I can't risk ninjas blowing up the spot because they wanna, be a bad apple. I can't risk that. But that's what comes with knowledge. That's what comes with wisdom. I'm not willing to blow for the sake of, certain sacrifices. Right? Certain guys, they just want to put everything on the YouTube just so they can blow up. They want to put every detail on the YouTube. They want to put all the women on the YouTube. They want to put all the boat parties on the YouTube. They want to put all this shit on the YouTube. Bro, y'all got to understand that now YouTube is becoming a space where, yeah, it's going to be highly surveilled. Right? Not just by, the federales, but by civilians. Civilians connected to maybe NGOs and, nonprofits that, they don't want certain stuff to be happening, or not even that. They just don't like that you're a man and you being able to exercise your right to travel. They don't like that shit. And then now you putting the women from these certain countries on film, and you putting them on the big screen, right? Even putting them on the Patreon, even putting them on the damn what you call that? On the OnlyFans. Right? They're gonna be surveilling that shit. Right? And the nonprofits are probably gonna hit you ninjas harder than the federales. That's what's gonna happen. Some of these women-led groups, that they take women in and they help women, and they don't want to see women exploited. Some of these don't exploit women groups, or they're going to hit y'all ninjas head up. They're going to hit you ninjas hard upside the head. They worse than the federales. They worse. Because they're going to make sure the federales hit you ninjas even harder than they hit you. Right? So it's really time for men to start moving more stealthy, to be honest with you. Right? Like I said, you can't control everything. However, if you are a leader, if you're at the forefront of certain things, you have an obligation to control the messaging. You have an obligation to control the narratives. You have an obligation to do so, especially when you have hundreds of thousands of people following you. When you share a fan base connected to certain people, you have an obligation now. So it's time for men to start stepping up to the plate. For the men who are properly, in that place to do that. Right? But it's time to, this is why I understand now why rich people be gatekeeping shit. I understand now. It makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. Because why would I want you ninjas? Why would I want these weird ass ninjas around me? Why would I want you weird ass ninjas around me? Right? This is why I keep spots to myself. I keep cologne to myself. I keep spots to myself. I don't want you ninjas smelling like me, ninja. I don't want you going where I go. I don't want you knowing, no. And then for the real information, you got to pay for it. You got to pay for the real information. But that's so you can keep stuff. That's how you keep stuff nice. That's how you keep PDF files away. That's how you keep weirdos away. Like, I remember being at the airport and I just seen, I don't really like how people travel anyway. I believe that you should look your best when going everywhere. Right? You should be looking your best, dressing your best. Right? Niggas be wearing, tank tops and dang on short shorts, and that, it's just all over the place. And then these niggas got the nerve to sit on the plane with me, like, bro, get away from me, bro. I don't want to be associated with you. I don't want to be associated with you. Just get from around me, man. Get from around me. And the guy this is what we was talking about. Me and the guy I was sitting down smoking cigars with. He was an older gentleman, and he was dressed to the T. I was like, damn, bro, you look good. Pause, no Diddy. Like, you got that shit on. Right? And me too. I'm out there, dressed down to the T, like looking like somebody. Right? And we both compliment each other, like, bro, you look good. And he started talking about the airport. The same stuff I just said. He was like, man, I'm tired of dudes, dressing any kind of way, coming through the airport, like, dress like you somebody. Dress like you got some money. You should have some money if you're traveling. Right? You should have some money. If you're traveling. But he agreed with the same concept. Dudes need to start traveling like they got some sense. Right? Travel like you got some sense. You ain't got to put on a whole suit to be on an airplane. But there's a such thing as, comfort clothes, right? Casual comfort. Travel casually, comfort, ninja. Put on some comfortable shoes, right? You ain't got to put on no slacks, but put on some nice pair of jeans, no holes in them, right? Get a nice, you put on a collar shirt or just a nice V-neck or a nice t-shirt, plain t-shirt, polo, heel figure, right? Something, just a plain Jane shirt, right? Put on a nice watch, right? It ain't got to be nothing crazy. Put on a nice little G-Shock. Be groomed. Don't be walking around all scruffy with no, hairs growing all out your nose and all that. Be groomed, ninja. Ninjas don't know how to move. This is the problem, right? This it's levels to this shit, because somebody who didn't care how they looked walking through the airport, guess what? They don't care. There's certain things that they're going to sacrifice. There's certain laziness that comes with that, right? That is a character thing, right? It is a character thing. Dress to impress. We need to bring it back. We need to bring it back. We need to start vetting. We need to start bringing back hierarchy. We need to, especially amongst men, we need to start bringing back gatekeeping. I believe in gatekeeping. I'm sorry. I believe in gatekeeping information. I believe gatekeeping knowledge. Right? My coworker told me back in the day, people wore suits to the airport. Yep, they wore suits back then. And you were treated with respect. Yeah, you'll be surprised at how people treat you, how women treat you when you walking around looking like something. Right? Instead of then on top of that, dudes be walking around like a Sloppaloposaurus. You got on lazy clothes. You got on lazy clothes and you look sloppy. And you fat. On top of that, like, bro, pick one. Yep, Kevin Samuels said that's why he always wears a suit. Pick one. You want to put on lazy clothes or be fat? Right? But ninjas want to do both. They want to be lazy and be fat, all across the board. But as you can see, gentlemen, there's a lot of things that are now crumbling. Right? Because it was never built on solid foundations. So just like the red pill, the manosphere, the dead pill, it wasn't built on solid foundation. It wasn't. It wasn't built off of transparency. It was built off of rage. It was built off of the desperation of men. That's what it was built on, right? And when you have desperate men, you don't have nothing solid to stand on. You don't have anything solid to stand on. Desperation doesn't create a solid foundation. Desperation creates further desperation, and that's what we're seeing. Ninjas are so desperate to put women back in the house, they willing to do everything. Ninjas done turned racist. Ninjas done said that we need to repeal the 19th. Ninjas are talking about women don't supposed to be I'm like, bro, I get it, Ninja. Well, as far as the women part, I get some of the women part, but like, bro, we ain't going back. We ain't going back. It was created out of desperation from a bunch of weak men. Right? That's the part that you need to pay attention to. Right? It wasn't really the top percentage of men. It was the weak men. The weak men gathered in one place to complain. The dead pill is the male feminist movement. That's what it is. Trying to put women back in the kitchen, trying to take their rights away. Why? Because you can't compete. That's some non-competitive type shit. That's what cheaters do. They want to strip people. They want to Gaetan Daniels. They want to strip people of their rights. They want to strip people from moving freely just so they can have the advantage. That's what losers do. So the dead pill is a bunch of losers. So just like with the passport bro movement, it was never built on solid foundation. It was never built on solid foundation. It was really built on, honestly speaking, it was built on debauchery. That's what it was built on. It was built on debauchery. It wasn't built on discipline. It wasn't built on a set of rules and standards and a framework that men should be abiding by before you do this. No, you had too many dudes. You had too many dudes who they just wanted to get away, aka desperation. Too many dudes who wanted to get away, and too many dudes who were lacking sex, who can't get it back home for one reason or another. So they wanted to go somewhere where they felt like it was easier. So it was built on debauchery. It wasn't built out of a real framework. It wasn't built on any kind of real foundation. It was just, yeah, let's go to Colombia. Okay, but then what happens when the bad apples get a hold of this and they start doing stuff? Right? Come on now. Gay time Dames, yeah. Grocery, what you think about looks maxing? Looks maxing, for one, is gay. It's gay as hell, first and foremost. Right? And as I can tell, looks maxing only seems to be for white guys, right? I don't talk about looks maxing. I mean, you should be looking good. You should be grooming yourself. You should be smelling good. You should be dressing good. I mean, the regular stuff. But as far as what these dudes be talking about, Clavacular, he's a clown. I watched his live stream. That dude is a clown. And I literally watched about an hour of that live stream. And I was like, and I showed my old lady too. I was like, this shit is gay as hell. Like, dude walking around, like, bro, men don't have to walk around like that. Men don't have to walk around doing that stupid, goofy ass shit. Right? They're walking around just looking for attention. Like, what kind of man are you? He ain't no man. He a little boy. And then on top of that, he's thinking in terms like a woman. Like, bro, what are we doing out here? And then then what's even gayer, right? What's even gayer that is dudes who recognized him was walking up to him and was like, they literally, like, y'all can go watch the live stream, some of the live stream, dudes walking up to him, literally asking him to rate them 1 through 10. Niggas walking up to him like, hey, Clavacular, come on, bro, rate me 1 to 10. Rate me 1 to 10. What can I improve? What can I improve, like head ass ninja? Would you rate me? How can I ascend? How can I ascend? How can I ascend? I'm like, bro, this is the gayest Gen Z, bro, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, bro. Y'all are effed out here, bro. Y'all are effed. Ninja, bro, men have fallen so bad that they're asking another man to rate them. Like, what the fuck? What the hell are we doing? Ninjas walking up to this ninja like, rate me, bro. Rate me 1 through 10. Rate me, bro. What the, bro? That's what, bro. This shit is all upside down. This is why hierarchy needs to be established. This is why we need to gatekeep. This is why you ninjas need to stay on the plantation. This is why ninjas need to stay on the plantation. Ninjas need to stay in America, bro. I don't want to be around. Listen, I don't want to be around you ninjas, man. Hey, matter of fact, y'all stay in America. Fuck that. As a matter of fact, y'all stay in America, ninja. Y'all stay in America. I don't want that lame ass, goofy ass, dumb shit, PDF file shit around me. I gotta get the F away from you ninjas. Because, like, what are we doing? And then when you try to talk to dudes about like real man shit, niggas get all squealy and then get all in their feelings and like bro, men are lost cause, to be honest with you. I keep telling y'all, I only want the top 20%, the guys who want to be in the top 20%, the guys who want to establish discipline, the guys who want to establish consistency, the guys who want to be something in life, especially moving into the new world. That's all I care about. As the rest of these men, the rest of the 80% of men, they can fuck off because most of them doomed in the first place. I'm out and about, I'm seeing this shit, I'm talking to these dudes. These dudes are gay as hell. They don't really know how women work. Hell, they don't even know how a man's supposed to operate. But listen, it's donezo. So what I think about Clavacular, I think he's a goofy. I think he's a goofy. And what I think about looks maxing is gay as hell. And speaking from a guy, I don't have to looks max. I mean, my bone structure speaks for itself, right? My skin tone speaks for itself, right? Heavily melanated. I glow, ninja. When the sun is out, I'm glowing, ninja. Ninja, when I'm out and about, I've had white women, black women, Hispanic women, right, tell me like, oh my God, how's your skin so shiny? It's so chocolatey, right? It's so chocolatey. Like, how is it like that? It's like glowy, right? I swear to God. So somebody like me who has the muscle density and the muscle structure, the bone structure across my body, I don't have to looks max. Looks maxing is not for me. In actuality, looks maxing is not for most black guys. It's not. Looks maxing, what's going on? But looks maxing is not for black guys because most black guys have the genetic features to stand out in the first place. Like, that's just truth be told. Right? If you see a lot of these looks maxers, most of them are white, right? But then they're trying to build attributes, like they're trying to build like facial attributes and right, get the trying to get the eyebrows, all skimpy, and gotta remove the hairs, and you gotta take the hairs out your nose, and you gotta when you take pictures, you gotta look like this. You gotta look like this, duck lips only when you take pictures, ninja. Like, I'm looking at these niggas like, bro, these niggas goofy. These niggas goofy as hell. Bro, these niggas goofy as hell. Trying to get double jaw surgery, like, ninja. Right, shouts out to the white guys, but man, look, looks maxing is not for black men. I'm tell you that right now. Looks maxing is not for black men, right? Most of y'all should come from a genetic pool where you stand out genetically anyway. So, ninja, all you gotta really most of you, all you need to do is a good haircut that highlights your bone structure and your facial features. All you need to work out, to fire up your DNA, so your actual DNA for your muscles and your bone structure can really highlight itself. That's most of y'all. That's all you need to do. Now, some of y'all just plain ugly, right? A lot of you niggas just plain ugly. It ain't nothing you can do, right? I mean, a lot of the looks maxers, their audience is plain ugly in the first place, so it ain't nothing they can do. But ninja, like, looks maxing, that's for goofies. Bro, a man shouldn't even be heavily focused on looks, right? Now, looks matter. You should be groomed, like I said. You should smell good. You should be in shape. You should be dressing good. However, that's not the only factor. That's not the only benefactor. Like, you should be making money. That's what you should be doing. Like, see, when dudes are not making money, they're trying to make up for it with the looks. See, with me, I like, if you so happen to just already be that, then you just so happen to already be that. But you got a lot of guys, they're trying to make up with the money with the looks. That shit is only going to work from 16 to about 23. After 23, your ass shit out of luck. That's when they start coming over my way, ninja. That's when they start coming over to the 30-year-olds, right? By the time they hit 23, your ass still, you in the mirror doing this. You in the mirror putting, trying to straighten your eyebrows up. She gonna look at your goofy ass and be like, bro, I gotta get rid of this gay ass nigga. Like, like, I gotta get rid of this nigga. Like, bro, what in the world? Like, now she gonna be looking for the 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds, right? She gonna be looking for the sugar daddies because your ass, instead of focusing on making some money, you focus on how you looking, right? But anyway, let's go ahead and end this poll. Only about 10 of y'all answered anyway. But anyway, this was a good live stream. Make sure you check out the Patreon. Make sure you become a YouTube member. Shouts out to everybody that tuned in. Cartier and Travis and Blaze Bradley. Who else up in this thing? Just 2 days. Shouts out to you for becoming a member. Shouts out to Unfiltered Grind as well. Shouts out to everybody. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.